Previous car registrations, including ones that have been sold in the past. No, those don't get addressed. There's no need. Yeah, those don't need to be addressed. New ones, you're going to want to put your cars into your private foundation that we create with you through the Living in the Private program. If it were me, and we don't teach this, but there are people that teach this, how to get the MSO on your old cars, which would put you in position of holding a duplicate copy, probably from the state directly, and do a notice of removal of registration. If you really want to have ownership of that vehicle outright, does that mean that a color of law enforcement officer isn't going to try to have a heyday and pull that into his jurisdiction? I don't know. I do know cops all the time make arrests of state citizens, not all the time, but they do, under color of law, because they can't find them in a system. They think they're giving them a fake ID. They think they're giving them, meaning their passport ID card, and they can't find anything on them in the system. So I had one guy, owner of a big company, brand new Cadillac Escalade. He was arrested and he was put inside for 72 hours. His wife's freaking out. I'm like, relax. He's 6'6". He's on vacation. He's okay. She's like, he's in jail. I'm like, no, he's taking a vacation, much needed one. And I said, and when he gets out, he's got one heck of a case. What are they holding him on? And they said, well, they're trying to find out who he is. I'm like, didn't he hand him his ID card? And she said, yeah, it was a passport ID card. I'm like, oh, they're in trouble. And so he hired a constitutional attorney, and that's still pending. But the bottom line is, cops are not in the privy on this stuff. So do you want to give up a driver's license? Do you actually want to drive a car that's not registered? I don't care. I don't care. So long as it's not in my name and it's in a foundation or trust, I'll have that. I'll have the insurance. I'll hold the license in my wallet. And I know what I've done legally and lawfully has brought me into the private from a standpoint of trust law, from a standpoint of jurisdiction, from a standpoint of knowing who I am as a State of the Union citizen. So if there were any jurisdictional challenges to the effect that I'm not a state citizen, I can deal with that at the time. But what's the bigger issue? Driving around the neighborhood all the time, going past the same cops without a license plate, and having them pull you over. I mean, there's literally a lady out there, 70 some odd years old, angry. She's so angry, and I hope she's still alive, but she's so angry, trying to play the sovereign citizen mentality. She was arrested 17 times in the last year and a half. 17 times. I'm like, what has that gotten you? How do you feel about that? Do it my way. You're living in peace, and you have all the contracts necessary to prove who you are. You can't prove anything about who you are or what you are because you got one leg in and you haven't dealt with the contracts, and you're fighting as a sovereign citizen in an expired tax car, expired driver's license. Why do you want to do all that? That's the element of why they call you a sovereign citizen. You're still a citizen. It's a joke that they're calling you sovereign and you're a citizen. And so, by the way, there's never been a definition that's been ruled out in court of the terminology sovereign citizen. So I'd like to see if anybody ever got that, but that's why we don't do these things. You know, I do have a vehicle, or excuse me, a motorcycle with the MSO in my hand, and I'm never going to register that. But I don't drive it enough, so I'm really not worried about it. But I'm never going to register it. And so I do know of a lot of people that drive around without plates all the time on old cars, all the time. There's guys out there that go trolling on YouTube for cops just so they can show how they would deal with a cop. And is that me? Why would I want that? Why would I want to troll for cops? Why would I want to try to get pulled over? Why would I want to have that element in my life when I know I got the same status, same jurisdiction, completely out, but with a stupid card in my wallet that does not stipulate that I am a U.S. citizen? Because I could bring my stuff into court, and then that would be the established court of record because the DMV defaulted and did not respond.